تجاوزت بما جرى علي من ذلك بعد حدودك، وخالفت بعض أوامرك، فلك الحمد علي في جميع ذلك، ولا حجة لي فيما جرى علي فيه قضاؤك وألزمني حكمك وبلاؤك. وقد أتيتك يا إلهي بعد تقصيري وإسرافي على نفسي، معتذرا نادما منكسرا مستقيلا، مستغفرا منيبا مقرا مذعنا معترفا، لا أجد مفرا مما كان مني ولا مفزعا أتوجه إليه في أمري غير قبولك عذري وإدخالك إياي في سعة رحمتك. اللهم فاقبل عذري وارحم شدة ضري وفكني من شدي وثاقي. يا رب ارحم ضعف بدني، ويا رب ارحم ضعف بدني ورقة جلدي ودقة عظمي. يا من بدأ خلقي وذكري وتربيتي وبري وتغذيتي، هبني لابتداء كرمك وسالف برك بي يا إلهي وسيدي وربي. أتراك معذبي بنارك بعد توحيدك وبعد من طوى عليه قلبي من معرفتك ولهج به لساني من ذكرك واعتقده ضميري من حبك، وبعد صدق اعترافي ودعائي خاضعا لربوبيتك. هيهات أنت أكرم من أن تضيع من ربيته أو تبعد من أدنيته أو تشرد من آويته أو تسلم إلى البلاء من كفيته ورحمته. وليت شعري يا سيدي وإلهي ومولاي. أتسلط النار على وجوه خرت لعظمتك ساجدة وعلى ألسن نطقت بتوحيدك صادقا وبشكرك مادحا، وعلى قلوب اعترفت بإلهيتك محققا، وعلى ضمائر حوات من العلم بك حتى صارت خاشعة، وعلى جوارح سعت إلى أوطان تعبدك طائعة، وأشارت باستغفارك مذعنة ما هكذا الظن بك ولا أخبرنا بفضلك عنك يا كريم يا رب. وأنت تعلم ضعفي عن قليل من بلاء الدنيا وعقوباتها وما يجري فيها من المكاره على أهلها، على أن ذلك بلاء ومكروه قليل مكثه يسير بقاؤه قصير مدته. فكيف احتمالي لبلاء الآخرة وجليل وقوع المكاره فيها وهو بلاء تطول مدته ويدوم مقامه ولا يخفف عن أهله، لأنه لا يكون إلا عن غضبك وانتقامك وسخطك، وهذا ما لا تقوم له السماوات والأرض. يا سيدي فكيف بي وأنا عبدك الضعيف الذليل الحقير المسكين المستكين. يا إلهي وربي وسيدي ومولاي، لأي الأمور إليك أشكو ولما منها أضج وأبكي؟ لأليم العذاب وشدته أم لطول البلاء ومدته؟ فلئن صيرتني للعقوبات مع أعدائك وجمعت بيني وبين أهل بلائك وفرقت بيني وبين أحبائك وأوليائك، فهبني يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي وربي. صبرت على عذابك فكيف أصبر على فراقك؟ وهبني صبرت على حر نارك فكيف أصبر على النظر إلى كرامتك؟ أم كيف أسكن في النار ورجائي عفوك؟ فبعزتك يا سيدي ومولاي أقسم صادقا لئن تركتني ناطقا لأضجن إليك بين أهلها ضجيج الآملين، ولأصرخن إليك صراخ المستصرخين، ولأبكين عليك بكاء الفاقدين، ولأنادينك أين كنت يا ولي المؤمنين، يا غاية آمال العارفين، يا غياث المستغيثين، يا غياث المستغيثين، يا غياث المستغيثين.
يا حبيب قلوب الصادقين ويا إله العالمين، أفتراك سبحانك يا إلهي وبحمدك تسمع فيها صوت عبد مسلم سجن فيها بمخالفته وذاق طعم عذابها بمعصيته وحبس بين أتباقها بجرمه وجريرته، وهو يضج إليك ضجيج مؤمل لرحمتك ويناديك بلسان أهل توحيدك ويتوسل إليك بربوبيتك. يا مولاي، فكيف يبقى في العذاب وهو يرجو ما سلف من حلمك؟ أم كيف تؤلمه النار وهو يأمل فضلك ورحمتك؟ أم كيف يحرقه لهيبها وأنت تسمع صوته وترى مكانه؟ أم كيف يشتمل عليه زفيرها وأنت تعلم ضعفه؟ أم كيف يتقلقل بين أتباقها وأنت تعلم صدقه؟ أم كيف تزجره زبانيتها وهو يناديك يا رباه؟ أم كيف يرجو فضلك في عتقه منها فتتركه فيها؟ هيهات، ما ذلك الظن بك ولا المعروف من فضلك ولا مشبه لما عاملت به الموحدين من برك وإحسانك. فباليقين أقطع لولا ما حكمت به من تعذيب الجاحدين وقضيت به من إخلاد المعاندين لجعلت النار كلها بردا وسلاما، وما كان لأحد فيها مقر ولا مقام، لكنك تقدست أسماؤك أقسمت أن تملأها من الكافرين من الجنة والناس أجمعين، وأن تخلد فيها المعاندين، وأن تجل ثناؤك قلت مبتدئا وتطولت بالإنعام متكرما. أفمن كان مؤمنا كمن كان فاسقا لا يستوون. إلهي وسيدي، فأسألك بالقدرة التي قدرتها وبالقضية التي حتمتها وحكمتها وغلبت من عليه أجريتها، أن تهب لي في هذه الليلة وفي هذه الساعة كل جرم أجرمته، وكل ذنب أذنبته، وكل قبيح أسررته، وكل جهل عملته، كتمته أو أعلنته، أخفيته أو أظهرته، وكل سيئة أمرت بإثباتها الكرام الكاتبين الذين وكلتهم بحفظ ما يكون مني، وجعلتهم شهودا علي مع جوارحي، وكنت أنت الرقيب علي من ورائهم والشاهد لما خفي عنهم، وبرحمتك أخفيته وبفضلك سترته، وأن توفر حظي من كل خير تنزله أو إحسان تفضله أو بر تنشره أو رزق تبسطه أو ذنب تغفره أو خطأ تستره. يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا رب يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي ومالك رقي، يا من بيده ناصيتي، يا عليما بضري ومسكنتي، يا خبيرا بفقري وفاقتي، يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا رب، أسألك بحقك وقدسك وأعظم صفاتك وأسمائك أن تجعل أوقاتي في الليل والنهار بذكرك معمورة، وبخدمتك موصولة، وأعمالي عندك مقبولة، حتى تكون أعمالي وأورادي كلها وردا واحدا، وحالي في خدمتك سرمدا. يا سيدي، يا من عليه معولي، يا من إليه شكوت أحوالي، يا ربي يا ربي يا ربي يا قو على خدمتك جوارحي، واشدد على العزيمة جوانحي، وهب لي الجد في خشيتك والدوام في الاتصال بخدمتك، حتى أسرح إليك في ميادين السابقين، وأسرع إليك في المبادرين، وأشتاق إلى قربك في المشتاقين، وأدنو منك دنو المخلصين، وأخافك مخافة الموقنين، وأجتمع في جوارك مع المؤمنين. اللهم ومن أرادني بسوء فأرده، ومن كادني فكده، واجعلني من أحسن عبيدك نصيبا عندك، وأقربهم منزلة منك وأخصهم زلفة لديك، فإنه لا ينال ذلك إلا بفضلك. وجد لي بجودك واعطف علي بمجدك، واحفظني برحمتك، واجعل لساني بذكرك لهجا، وقلبي بحبك متيما، ومن علي بحسن إجابتك، وأقلني عثرتي، واغفر زلتي، فإنك قضيت على عبادك بعبادتك، وأمرتهم بدعائك، وضمنت لهم الإجابة. فإليك يا رب نصبت وجهي، وإليك يا ربي مددت يدي، فبعزتك استجب لي دعائي، وبلغني مناي، ولا تقطع من فضلك رجائي، واكفني شر الجن والإنس من أعدائي. يا سريع الرضا، يا سريع الرضا، يا سريع الرضا، اغفر لمن لا يملك إلا الدعاء، فإنك فعال لما تشاء. يا من اسمه دواء، وذكره شفاء، وطاعته غنى، ارحم من رأس ماله الرجاء، وسلاحه البكاء. يا سابغ النعام، يا دافع النقام، يا نور المستوحشين في الظلام، يا عالما لا يعلم، صل على محمد وآل محمد، وافعل بي ما أنت أهله. وصلى الله على رسوله والأئمة الميامين من آله، وسلم تسليما كثيرا. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد، وعجل فرجهم يا كريم.
صلى على محمد وآل محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
You know the message that you sent, these are the marhumin that who?
Yes.
Okay.
And there's also one on my
YouTube as well. For
brother Akbar. It's a Shifa. The surgery and then stroke.
Ya Allah.
It's in the group, please.
These are the marhumin.
These are the marhumin.
Okay.
And this is the Hussein Akbar. Abdul Hussein Akbar.
اللهم صل على محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجه. There has been a request from one of the mu'mineen by the name of Abdul Hussein Akbar, who has developed complications following a surgery. Could we please all recite 5 times amma yujib for his recovery inshallah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Amma yujibul mudtar wa idha da'a wa yakshifu as-su'. أما يجيب المضطر وإذا دعاه ويكشف السوء أما يجيب المضطر وإذا دعاه ويكشف السوء أما يجيب المضطر وإذا دعاه ويكشف السوء أما يجيب المضطر وإذا دعاه وَيَكْشِفُ السُّوءِ. We ask Allah for the sake of the Imam whom we are all gathered here tonight for, to grant our brother inshallah a fast recovery بحق محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. For your marhumin, for the marhumin of the mu'minin and mu'minat, and especially for the marhumin of the family who sponsored today's majlis, marhum Sadaqat Ali Ja'fari, marhum Sayyid Mahdi Raza Abdi, marhum Bashir Hussein Shah. Surah Al-Fatiha followed by 3 times Qul Wallahu Ahad, before it the loudest of salawat on Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. لقد جاءت رسل ربنا بالحق، ثم الصلاة والسلام والتحية والإكرام على أول الخلق والعدد، سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا وشفيع ذنوبنا أبي القاسم محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين الأئمة المعصومين المنتجبين، ولا سيما حجة الله في الأراضين، روحي وأرواح المؤمنين لتراب مقدمه الفداء. الإمام الحسن العسكري عليه السلام، اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد, is the second youngest Imam alayhi salam to have lived from the Imam's lineage. And he also has the shortest Imama span, which lasted only for 6 years. The Imam alayhi salam had the responsibility of the Imam at the age of 22, and he was martyred at the age of 28, making him the shortest Imama span throughout the Imams alayhim salam. Despite this, you find that the Imam alayhi salam has accomplished few roles that we as a nation of Rasulullah benefit from until today and until the day of judgment. Before I would like to share a few of these roles that the Imam alayhi salam accomplished, I want to paint a picture for you. How did the Imam alayhi salam, despite being under pressure from Banu Abbas, under the siege, he was able to accomplish what he accomplished? Before we share those roles, Imam alayhi salam, from 9th, 10th and 11th Imam, if you were to add the ages of these Imams alayhim salam, for example, the 9th Imam was how old when he was martyred? 25 years of age. The youngest of the Imams is Imam al-Jawad. Imam Ali al-Hadi alayhi salam, he was 41 years of age when he was martyred. Imam al-Hasan al-Askari was 28 years when he was martyred. So if you were to add these numbers, 25 plus 28, 53. Add 41 of Imam Ali al-Hadi, 94 years, the total. So these Imams alayhim salam combined, they lived the age of a normal human being that a normal person would live. 94 years, 3 Imams were martyred at a very young age, which comes to show you the pressure that Abbasids had on the Imams alayhim salam. And these are not my words, the words of Ma'mun, la'natullahi alayh. He says, لَقَدْ فَعَلْنَا بِأَهْلِ الْبَيْتِ مَا لَمْ يَفْعَلْهُ بَنُو أُمَيَّةِ. We have done with the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam oppressions with the Ahlul Bayt that even Banu Umayyah did not do. Now imagine, Banu Umayyah, they have done what they did with Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen, with Imam al-Hasan, the way they have killed Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam in such a brutal way, the way they have paraded the women of the Ahlul Bayt. Yet Ma'mun says, what we did to the Ahlul Bayt, even Banu Umayyah did not do. So you could imagine the extent of oppression on Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. So much so that I found something from the Sunnah of Imam al-Hasan al-Askari which no other Imam had done. Upon the martyrdom of Imam Ali al-Hadi alayhi salam, Imam Hasan al-Askari came out the house without the turban, which many Imams have done. He came out barefoot, which other Imams have done, i.e. Imam al-Rada. But there is something which Imam al-Askari did which no other Imam done. And that was that he ripped his shirt upon the martyrdom of his father Ali al-Hadi. This is a way to express the oppression that the Imam and his father were undergoing with the Abbasid Khalifa. Now in the Imam span, which only lasted 6 years, not his entire life, 6 years, from 22 until 28, the Imam lived under the rule of 3 Abbasid kings. How many? 3. Each one of them had imprisoned the Imam more than twice. This is just a picture before I tell you the roles. Imagine the pressure that he was under, yet he was able to accomplish what he accomplished for the benefit of the nation of his grandfather, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. So the Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. The 3 kings who were at the time of the Imam alayhi salam, beginning with Al-Mu'taz Al-Abbasi, then you have Al-Muhtadi Al-Abbasi, then you have Al-Mu'tamid Al-Abbasi, who killed the Imam alayhi salam. Beginning with Al-Mu'taz, as soon as he came into power, he imprisoned the Imam alayhi salam. When he imprisoned the Imam, he sent 2 people who were very hateful towards the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam to make sure that the Imam suffers while he is in the imprisonment of Al-Mu'taz. These 2 people, when they came to the prison of the Imam, the night they were there, the next day, from hateful towards the Imam, they changed to the lovers of the Imam. When this news came to Al-Mu'taz, he summons them and he tells them, you were the most hateful people towards the Imam alayhi salam. What has happened in one night that you became the lovers of the Imam? You know what they said to him? This is a lesson for every Shia. They said to him, مَا رَأْيُكَ بِرَجُلٍ يَقُومُ لَيْلَهُ وَيَصُومُ نَهَارَهُ وَإِذَا تَهَجَّى ذَكَرَ اسْمَ اللَّهِ. What is your thought, O Mu'taz, with a man who wakes up the night worshipping Allah, fasts the day, and if he was to utter something, he will utter in the remembrance of Allah. This was the sunnah of the Imam. Only one night they met the Imam, not the entire life. The problem with people of that time and the time of Banu Umayyah, up until today, when people hate the Ahlul Bayt, because they are unaware of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. They were being brainwashed by Banu Umayyah, Banu Abbas. Up until today, the extreme scholars, they brainwash people to hate the Ahlul Bayt. An example from the history, when Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam, was Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajjal farajahum. When he was martyred and the news came to Sham, what did people do? What did people say? How was Ali in the masjid? What was Ali ibn Abi Talib doing in the masjid? Imagine the amount of brainwashing that what was Ali doing in the masjid? When in reality, if you were to see the life of Ali, if he's not busy with serving people and doing their affairs for them, you would find him in the masjid. He himself says, Al-masjidu ahabbu ilayya min al-jannah. Masjid is more beloved to Ali than Jannah. Why, O Ali? Because in Jannah it is the pleasure of Ali, whereas in Masjid it is the pleasure of Allah. And Ali does not prioritize his pleasure upon Allah's pleasure. This was Ali ibn Abi Talib. Yet the news was what in Sham? Ali has nothing to do with salah, nothing to do with prayer. That was the brainwashing that Banu Umayyah did. If you come to Imam al-Husayn alayhi salam, when he was martyred and his head arrived in Sham, one of the very painful comments for Sayyidah Zainab alayhi salam, despite the fact they said, he's against the Khalifa and he went against the Khalifa of Allah, they said something which was very painful for Sayyidah. They said he was someone who was not offering his prayer. Imagine, such a comment was very painful for the heart of Zainab. Hence, you find in every ziyarah of the Imam, what do you say? Ashhadu annaka qad aqamta as-salah. Whether they love it, whether they like it, whether they believe it or not, you and I, what do we say to the Imam? We believe, we bear witness that you have established the prayer, O Hussein. You are the soul of the prayer, O Hussein. But the brainwashing was such that those people, they hated Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. Likewise with Imam Hasan al-Askari. These two people were hateful for the Imam. Why? Because they were ignorant of the facts how Imam is. When they knew who he was, they loved the Imam. Al-Mu'taz al-Abbasi did not care. What does he do? He calls someone by the name of Sa'id al-Hajib. He tells him, I would like you to take the Imam to Kufa and on the way, finish the Imam off. In Samarra, it's becoming very difficult. When this news came to Imam al-Askari by few of his Shi'as to be warned, the Imam says to them, I have prayed to Allah and Allah has answered my dua. Mu'taz is not going to last 3 days and he's going to die. 3 days come by, Mu'taz dies, and this plan does not go ahead. When Mu'taz dies, who comes forward? Al-Muhtadi al-Abbasi. When he came into power, again he summons the Imam to the prison. A Shia by the name of Abu Hashim al-Ja'fari, he says, I met the Imam in the prison, and the Imam says to me that Al-Muhtadi challenged Allah. And because he challenged Allah, what does Allah do? Allah cut off his lifespan. He's not going to live long. When he dies, I will be freed out of the imprisonment. And that is exactly what happens. When Muhtadi dies, who comes into power? Al-Mu'tamid. This is the one who poisoned the Imam alayhi salam. But before he poisons the Imam, what does he do? He calls someone to make sure that the Imam suffers in the prison. When the Imam alayhi salam came into the prison, this prison guard's sister, she comes to him and she says, this man looks like he is a righteous man. He's a pious man. And I see that if you were to make him suffer, Allah will punish you in this dunya and the akhirah. Let him go. What does he do? He says, okay, I will test if he is really a pious person. What does he do? He had few lions. He kept them hungry for some time. He puts them in a pit and he puts Imam Hasan al-Askari in that pit. He finds after a while that those lions came at the feet of Imam al-Askari alayhi salam. He was surprised, lions, hungry. Why are they coming to the feet of this man? He comes into the pit to find out why are they doing this. The lions attack him. When this news goes to Al-Mu'tamid, what does he do? He fears the Imam alayhi salam. He begs the Imam for forgiveness and he asks the Imam to ask Allah to grant him a longer life. Subhanallah. Look, the enemy is coming to the Imam. He just wanted him dead. And now he's asking him to ask Allah to give him a lengthy life. So the Imam alayhi salam had to undergo in his imamah such rulers. Despite all this, you find that the Imam alayhi salam accomplished few roles which are benefiting the Shias and the Muslim nation up until today. We begin with number 1. At-Tusi, Shaykh At-Tusi in his book Rijal At-Tusi, he says that 100 people, 100 scholars were graduated from the teachings of Al-Askari alayhi salam. 100. Some ulama went up to 200 ulama. They graduated under the teachings of Al-Askari alayhi salam. Bear in mind, in these 6 years, where was he majority of the time? In the prison. The Imam alayhi salam was under siege. Yet he was able to spread the teachings of Muhammad wa al Muhammad salawatullahi alayhim ajma'een. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. The Imam wanted people to benefit from the knowledge of Ahlul Bayt. And this is something that you find in Imam Ali al-Hadi's ziyarah Jami'a Kabira. What does he say? Bikum allamana Allah ma'alima dinina. وَأَفْسَدَ مَا كَانَ وَأَصْلَحَ مَا كَانَ فَسَدَ مِن دُنْيَانَا. It is through you, Ahl al-Bayt, Allah has taught us our religion. Despite what they were going through, they would still teach people. They would always prioritize people's lives on their own life. They want people to benefit even though they are suffering. That did not put the Imam alayhi salam off. So that was role number one. The Imam alayhi salam was spreading the teachings of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, despite what he was going through. Number two, as we know, Ahlul Bayt, are they only there for Shias? Are they there for Muslims? No. The Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam are for everyone. Christian, Jew, non-Muslim, atheist, doesn't matter. If someone was to knock the door of Ahlul Bayt, they would welcome them, just like their grandfather who was sent as Rahmatul lil Alameen. It doesn't, not just Muslims, Rahmatul lil Muslimin, no. Rahmatul lil Mu'mineen, no. Rahmatul lil Alameen. Whether you're a Muslim, non-Muslim, you hate the Prophet, you love the Prophet, he was sent as a rahmah for you and everyone else. So role number two, the Imam alayhi salam invited people towards the religion of Allah. How? One of the Christians who was living in Samarra, he was from the Nasara, he had an operation that he was going to go through the day tomorrow. He tells his children, go and speak to Al-Askari alayhi salam and tell him that our father is requesting you to come to our house to bless us with your presence. This is a Christian who also admires and accepts that this man, Al-Askari, though he does not believe in him, but he is someone who's pious. So when this came to the Imam, look what the Imam prayed to Allah. Again, this shows you the pain through the words of the Imam. The Imam says, Alhamdulillahi alladhi ja'ala ahadan min al-nasara yuqaddiruna ila hadha al-yawm akthar min al-muslimin. Praise be to Allah who makes some of the Christians appreciate and value us Ahl al-Bayt until today more than the Muslims. Now, if you were to see in reality, Muslimin are awla bin Nabi wa al Nabi. Yes, Muslims have the right over Rasulullah and the progeny of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. Not the Christians, the Muslims. Allah says, قُلْ لَا أَسْأَلُكُمْ عَلَيْهِ أَجْرًا إِلَّا الْمَوَدَّةَ فِي الْقُرْبَى. This message was for who? The Muslims. Yet the irony is that Ahlul Bayt suffered from the Muslims more than anyone else. If you go back to the palace of Yazid, who was defending Sayyidah Zainab and the Imams alayhim salam? It was a Christian, not the Muslims. The Muslims were watching. In this case, likewise, this Christians, he summons the Imam alayhi salam. The Imam goes to his house. He stands up. He welcomes the Imam. The Imam tells him of umur ghaybiyya, something that will happen to him. The Imam tells him, soon in the future, you're going to lose one of your children. The second child will become a Shia of mine and will benefit from my teaching. As for your operation, don't worry, everything is going to go fine. Later on, this Christian also becomes a Shia of the Imam alayhi salam. How did the Imam alayhi salam invite him? The Imam did not go there, tell him Tawheed, Adl, you should not believe. No, he went with akhlaq. He went with kindness. He did not say, how dare you invite me to your house when you're a mushrik. No, this is the akhlaq of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. So role number two of the Imam, to invite the non-Muslims onto the path of the Ahlul Bayt. Role number 3 is to fight the fitna. There were many fitna, the mischief at the time of the Imams alayhi salam. One of the fitnas that was in the time of Al-Askari alayhi salam was someone by the name of Ishaq-ul-Kindi. He was a Muslim, an alim living in Kufa. He was writing a book, The Contradictions in the Quran. The contradictions in the Quran. So the Imam alayhi salam, what does he do? He calls one of his companions. He tells him, I want you to go fully with akhlaq. Debate with him. Be nice to him. Be kind to him. And I want you to ask him one question only. And if he is a alim, he will understand what I meant. The Imam says to him, go and ask him, these contradictions that you believe there are contradictions in the Quran, is there a possibility that there might be another understanding of the ayah other than what you understood? And leave it there. When this companion of the Imam went to Ishaq al-Kindi, some ulama say Yaqub al-Kindi, who is the son of Ishaq, but majority have agreed it was Ishaq. When he sat with him and he said to him this question which the Imam asks, is there a possibility that there is another meaning of the ayah other than what you understood? Ishaq al-Kindi thought and he said, possibly, yes, it is right. Here the companion says, that means there's no contradiction. It is just that the lack of your knowledge leads you to the fact that you think there are contradictions. But if you were to understand the Quran, there are no contradictions in the Quran. Ishaq al-Kindi says to him, who sent you with this question? He says, it is a question that I thought from my own mind. He says to him, no, only a true alim asks this question. Tell me, who do you come from? He says, I came from Samarra. He says, Al-Askari sent you. He knew only Al-Askari alayhi salam can provoke such a thought that he would get rid of this book. This is how the Imam alayhi salam got rid of this fitna. Number 4, and this is a lesson which we can apply in our life from Imam Hasan al-Askari alayhi salam. Imam al-Askari alayhi salam got a letter from one of his Shi'as. He was complaining of another Shia. What does he say to the Imam? Few years ago, I have lent some money to a Shia of yours. He promised me that he will return the money to me. Few days it went, weeks went by, months went by, years went by. He did not give me my money. Oh Imam, I want you to pray to Allah to take my right. I don't want my money anymore. I just want him to go through an affliction. I want him to go through a tribulation. Nothing else. I don't care about my money anymore. When this letter came to the Imam alayhi salam, the Imam told him, rather than asking me to pray for a tribulation for your brother, why did you not ask me to pray to Allah that he returns your money to you? Why should you wish ill for your brother? Just ask me and I could pray to Allah to return your money to you. Why should you wish ill for your brother? Think positive, the Imam tells him. Don't think negative. And then the Imam quotes him this ayah from the Quran. He tells him, Yusuf alayhi salam, when the women of Egypt, they had ill intentions about him, what does Yusuf pray to Allah? He says to Allah, رَبِّ السِّجْنُ أَحَبُّ إِلَيَّ مِمَّا يَدْعُونَنِي إِلَيْهِ. The Imam tells him, Yusuf said, Oh Allah, the prison is better for me than that which they are calling me for. The Imam tells him, had Yusuf asked Allah for afiyah, for protection from those women, Allah would have granted him his dua. But he chose to go prison, so Allah granted him imprisonment. Think positive, you will have positive impact on your life. The next day after this man had received this letter, that Shia came to him and he returned the money. He asks him, how come after all this time you come to me with this money? He says, last night I saw the Imam in my dream. He tells me in 1 week I'm going to pass away. And should I not give you your money back, I will be held accountable for this. I don't want to be held accountable. What lesson do you and I learn from this? Something that we could apply in our day. Many times, You see that people, for example, couple, they're married couple, they're happily married. Their life seems perfect for people, although there's no perfect relationship. Everyone goes through ups and downs. But for some people, when they see two people happy, what do they say? They envy their relationship. Rather than asking Allah to grant them a good spouse, rather than asking Allah to grant them understanding between them and their spouse, they envy people. They have grudge against people. When it's the same Allah, if you ask Him to grant you happiness just like He granted them, He could. Think positive, you'll have positive impact. On the other hand, you see someone who is having a good career, good business. Rather than envying such a person, what should you do? The same raziq that gave him rizq, he could give you rizq as well. Ask Allah to give you like He gave him. Allah's khaza'in are not going to finish. If He gives you and He gives him, Allah is going to become poor, God forbid. No, Allah is ghani, regardless, Allah is rich. Just like He was able to give him, He can give you. Think positive, something that the Imam worked on. He taught his Shi'as akhlaq. Think positive, you will have a positive life. Like Imam As-Sadiq alayhi salam, he would, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And this is a narration, especially for the youth, and it applies to everyone. If we could apply it in our lives, you will become someone whom the Imam is proud of. The Imam tells one of his Shi'as, he tells him, Al-Hasanu Hasanun. Al-Hasanu min kulli ahadin Hasanun wa minka ahsanu liqurbika minna ahl al-bayt. Good is good when it's done by someone else. But when you do that good, it is best. Why? For your proximity towards Ahl al-Bayt. When you're a Shia, you have more right to do the goodness more than anyone else. And then the Imam tells him, وَكُلُّ سَيِّئٍ سَيِّئٌ وَلَكِنْ مِنْكَ أَسْوَأُ لِقُرْبِكَ مِنَّ أَهْلِ الْبَيْتِ. And every bad deed is bad from someone else, but from you it is worse, because you are close to us, Ahl al-Bayt. Before you do any action, think of this. I'm a Shia of whom? Ja'far al-Sadiq. And the Imam alayhi salam says, كُونُوا لَنَا زَيْنًا وَلَا تَكُونُوا عَلَيْنَا شَيْنًا. Be an ornament for us, Ahl al-Bayt, and do not be someone who would let us down. Be such a way, Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam says to his Shi'as, be such a way that when people see your akhlaq, they would say, رحم الله جعفر قد أدب شيعته. May Allah have mercy on Ja'far, how he disciplined his Shi'as. Be such a way that people pray to the Imam. Not that they will say, oh, these are the Shi'as of Ja'far. These are the Shi'as of Ali ibn Abi Talib. Don't make them make fun of the Imams because of what we do. The Imams alayhim salam are far away from any shortcomings, far away from any sin, far away from impurity. But it is the job of us Shi'as now that we represent the Imams. What do? We hold their heads high. The Imam alayhi salam also says, تَخَلَّقُوا بِأَخْلَاقِنَا. Something is very hard to ask, but it's not impossible to achieve. Have the akhlaq of us Ahl al-Bayt. Something which is not very possible, but imagine if the aim is to become like Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. If you can't reach that level, that's how Salman became Salman. That's how Abu Dhar became Abu Dhar. That's how Miqdad became Miqdad. The aim was whom? Amir al-Mu'minin Ali ibn Abi Talib. But they were unable to become Ali. What did they become? Maytham. They became Ammar bin Yasir. They became people who came to Hussein alayhi salam. Abbas alayhi salam, the aim is Hussein. He became Abbas. That's the aim. Aim higher. You're not going to be like Ahlul Bayt, but you are going to meet somewhere that the Ahlul Bayt are to be proud of you. Imam Hasan al-Askari's fourth role in his life is to discipline his Shi'as. Number 5, and this is a tafsir by the Imam, which is the tafsir of the Quran, by the name of Tafsir al-Askari. We have many tafsir. The famous tafsir we have up until today, Tafsir al-Qummi, Tafsir al-Burhan fi, Tafsir al-Quran for Sayyid Hashim al-Bahrani. They have derived their interpretation of the Quran from the tafsir of al-Askari alayhi salam. The Imam wants people to understand the Quran from the Ahlul Bayt. You can only understand the Quran when you go to the door of Muhammad wa al Muhammad. If you go to someone else who says, Hasbuna kitab Allah, Allah's book is sufficient for us, well, you've seen where they have gone. Yes, where have they diverted away from the Quran itself and from Tawheed? But come to the door of Baab-Ul-Ilm, Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. Anyone who came at that door, look where they have arrived and where they have reached with that knowledge. Should you come to the right door, Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. So the Imam alayhi salam gave the tafsir of the Quran. Sixth role and the final one, from many of the roles that the Imam had given, he worked on ijtihad. Something that, in the Shia community, we have dispute over. Yes? Is it right? Is it wrong? Should we follow? Should we not follow? And so on and so forth. Imams alayhi salam, beginning with Imam al-Kadhim up until al-Askari alayhi salam, they have all worked on this fact that people should go back to their trusted companions. Imam al-Kadhim, when he was in the prison for 14 years, how else the Shias could be guided? They can't approach the Imam alayhi salam. So the Imam alayhi salam had a companion who would come to him. He would ask the questions. When he goes out, he will teach the Shias the teachings of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. Imam al-Askari was under more pressure. Why? Because the occultation is next. There is no Imam after him who would be there out publicly. The occultation was there. Minor occultation, major occultation. The Imam alayhi salam had to teach people to refer back to his trusted people. I will mention a name and from the time of al-Askari and a name from the time of al-Jawad alayhi salam, who today is buried not far away from Ma'suma Qum alayhi salam in Qum. His name is Yahya bin Zakaria. A person comes from Qum to Imam al-Jawad to Baghdad asking him few questions. The Imam says to him, after answering these questions, why don't you go to our entrusted person in Qum by the name of Yahya bin Zakaria? Whatever he says, it is as if I am saying it to you. When you are entrusted by the Imam, khalas, he's speaking on my behalf. You don't have to come all the way. Go to Yahya bin Zakaria. The Imam was still there. The Imam did not tell him, come to me all the way. It doesn't matter. No. The Imam were training the Shias to go to the learned people who are just, adil. In the time of al-Askari alayhi salam, he had many companions. One of them by the name of Muhammad bin Uthman, who also was one of the 4 representatives of Al-Mahdi, Ajjalallahu ta'ala farajah al-Sharif, in his minor occultation. That's how close he was to the Imam. The Imam would tell people, go back to him. You don't have to come to me. I am under siege. I am not allowed to go out of Samarra. Approach these ulama. I allow you to speak to them because they speak on my behalf. Despite the fact, this is a fact known about Al-Askari alayhi salam. Ulama differ. He was either born in Samarra and stayed there all his life, or he came when he was 2 or 3 years of age. The Imam alayhi salam is the only Imam who did not do Hajj, nor did he do Umrah. Only Imam from the Imams alayhim salam. One of the highly recommended acts when you go Umrah or Hajj, that you do a Umrah on the behalf of the Imam and you gift it to him. Now, look at the reward for this. If you do such an act, you go Umrah, you gift it in the name of Al-Askari, who is going to repay you? His son Al-Mahdi, Ajjalallahu ta'ala farajah al-Sharif. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. When you do good, just remember that Ahlul Bayt will do better goodness than you have done. Hal jaza'ul ihsani illa al-ihsan. They will return it 10 times fold, 70, 700, something that only Allah knows. This is a recommended act that when you go for Umrah or Hajj. Why? Because the Imam alayhi salam was unable to do any Umrah or Hajj due to the pressure that the Abbasid kings had over the Imam alayhi salam. So these are the few roles that the Imam alayhi salam had accomplished, which we are benefiting from up until today. The madhumiyah of this Imam alayhi salam was such that he was poisoned on the 1st of Rabi'ul Awwal. Al-Mu'tamid la'natullahi alayh sent the Imam poison. The Imam consumed it. And for 8 days, the Imam alayhi salam was suffering in agony due to the pain of consuming that poison. On the 8th of Rabiul Awwal, the day like tomorrow, the Imam alayhi salam's soul departs this dunya into the Akhirah. The body of the Imam alayhi salam was left outside his house. The Shias gather and they were weeping, lamenting the martyrdom of the Imam. A person by the name of Ja'far, the brother of the Imam, comes forward to lead the janazah. When the Shias looked at Ja'far, they knew that he's not the Imam. How could he lead the janazah of the Imam alayhi salam? They said these words, "Wa day'ata," we have lost. We have lost the Imam, and our current Imam is not here to lead the janazah. When they were saying this, they looked behind. From the door of the house of Al-Askari came out a 5-year-old boy, the orphan of Al-Askari alayhi salam, wearing the amama of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. He had the look of Rasulullah, the flesh, the blood of Rasulullah. His walk, his talk is the one that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam had. He comes forward, he says, "Ammah Ja'far, Tanaha janiban." Oh, Uncle Ja'far, step aside. Only an Imam can pray over an Imam. The Imam comes forward. He does the takbirat on the body of his father Al-Askari alayhi salam. I ask Al-Mahdi, who was only 5 years of age, "Oh Imam, you were able to offer Salatul Janazah on your father when you're only 5. Oh Imam, on the 11th of Muharram, Sajjad alayhi salam was passing through the body of his father Hussein, not being able to pay his salutations due to the chains that he was shackled with. Oh Imam, you were able to pray the funeral of your father when you were in Samarra, yet Hussein alayhi salam was on the plains of Karbala with no kafan, with no ghusl and no janazah for 3 days. Oh Imam, you had Shi'as who were lamenting, who were weeping the tragedy of your father Al-Askari alayhi salam. Imam Al-Hussein had people who were looting his armor, they were looting his shoes, they were looting what was left on the body of Hussein alayhi salam. And a mal'oon comes, he finds nothing. He looks at the ring of the Imam alayhi salam. He says, "I tried to take the ring off the finger of Hussein. Due to the dry blood on the finger, I was unable to do so." He says, "I took my dagger and I cut the finger of Hussein alayhi salam." Sayyid Rada al-Hindi says, there was a funeral prayer on the body of Hussein. I asked the Sayyid, what prayer was that? He says, "Sallat ala jism al-Husayni suyufihim." It was the swords of the enemies that prayed the janazah prayer on the body of Hussein alayhi salam. I say, last question, O Imam Sahib al-Asri wa Zaman, forgive me for this. O Imam, the women of your family were allowed to express their feelings and pain for the tragedy of your father. Come to the day of Ashura, your aunt Zainab, whenever she wanted to shed a tear on the body of Hussein, Shimr Mal'oon would come and whip the back of Zainab alayhi salam. Ala la'natullahi ala al-qawmi al-zalimin. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين والحمد لله رب العالمين. We ask Allah, by the tears shed for Imam Hasan al-Askari, to hasten the reappearance of our Imam Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Farajahu al-Sharif, to make us from the Ansar of the Imam alayhi salam, and to make us from those people who work towards hastening the reappearance of the Imam, and to grant us the ziyarah of Ahlul Bayt in this dunya and the shafa'ah of Ahlul Bayt in the akhirah. And last but not the least, to give the thawab of this majlis for the marhumeen of the families who had sponsored this majlis, for the marhumeen of the mu'mineen who attended the majlis. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين. اللهم صل على محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. أفضل الأعمال, the best deed of every Thursday night is the ziyarah of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. Let's together recite the ziyarah warith of Imam alayhi salam. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. السلام عليك يا وارث آدم صفوة الله. السلام عليك يا وارث نوح نبي الله. السلام عليك يا وارث إبراهيم خليل الله. السلام عليك يا وارث موسى كليم الله. السلام عليك يا وارث عيسى روح الله. السلام عليك يا وارث محمد حبيب الله. السلام عليك يا وارث أمير المؤمنين عليه السلام. السلام عليك يا ابن محمد المصطفى. السلام عليك يا ابن علي المرتضى. السلام عليك يا ابن فاطمة الزهراء. السلام عليك يا ابن خديجة الكبرى. السلام عليك يا ثار الله وابن ثاره والوتر الموتور. أشهد أنك قد أقمت الصلاة وآتيت الزكاة وأمرت بالمعروف ونهيت عن المنكر وأطعت الله ورسوله حتى أتاك اليقين. فلعن الله أمة قتلتك ولعن الله أمة ظلمتك ولعن الله أمة سمعت بذلك فرضيت به. يا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله، أشهد أنك كنت نورا في الأصلاب الشامخة والأرحام المطهرة، لم تنجسك الجاهلية بأنجاسها ولم تلبسك من مدلهمات ثيابها. وأشهد أنك من دعائم الدين وأركان المؤمنين. وأشهد أنك الإمام البر التقي الرضي الزكي الهادي المهدي. وأشهد أن الأئمة من ولدك كلمة التقوى وأعلام الهدى والعروة الوثقى والحجة على أهل الدنيا. وأشهد الله وملائكته وأنبياءه ورسله أني بكم مؤمن وبإيابكم موقن بشرائع ديني وخواتيم عملي، وقلبي لقلبكم سلم وأمري لأمركم متبع. صلوات الله عليكم وعلى أرواحكم وعلى أجسادكم وعلى أجسامكم وعلى شاهدكم وعلى غائبكم وعلى ظاهركم وعلى باطنكم. بأبي أنت وأمي يا ابن رسول الله، بأبي أنت وأمي يا أبا عبد الله. لقد عظمت الرزية وجلت المصيبة بك علينا وعلى جميع أهل السماوات والأرض. فلعن الله أمة أسرجت وألجمت وتهيأت لقتالك. يا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله، قصدت حرمك وأتيت إلى مشهدك، أسأل الله بالشأن الذي لك عنده وبالمحل الذي لك لديه أن يصلي على محمد وآل محمد وأن يجعلني معكم في الدنيا والآخرة. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. It is recommended that you offer 2 ركعة زيارة of Imam al-Hussein قربة إلى الله.
Just before you start your namaz, Salim Bhai will be. Are you going outside? Okay. There is an election taking place for the Council of European Jamaats. There's 2 candidates, both of whom were here a couple of days ago. So please select one and then cast your ballot in a box. So there'll be Salim Bhai and Samir Bhai outside guiding you. So.
Do you have a syllabus for that? Yeah, I can guess. When do you want it to be?
I'm thinking, I don't know how it's going to work. I'm not sure how many people will turn up.
We can ask, like, vote or poll.
I was thinking, just before Juma. So from 10 to 11, or 45 minutes class.
Okay.
So from, because in summer it's been, in winter it's been going around 4
Yeah,
hours.
12, 10.
Yeah. So we can use it before that. I'm thinking, I don't know how the turnout's going to be. Let's put that as one option.
Yeah, an hour before July.
Or maybe a bit more because the people can go back and collect whatever they want from their homes or whatever.
Okay.
So maybe 15, 20 minutes. But let's work that out. That's one thing. So we do 6 weeks into the course. That's all over. And just see how it works. People are schedule. Yes. Let's pick a words from the Quran. Let's see. Not that's behind that.
आगे माशाल्लाह मुबारक हो इनसे मिलिए ये है आपके शहरी इरफान रिजवान ये हमारे अजीज और ये अभी 2 महीने हुए ये भी अहली कराची यहाँ तो पुराने हो जाए ये खास शहर का तारक हो जाए गुलशन 13 आप हैं
That's why
Because the new celebrations are Imam Mahdi's the new and Imam They're doing it now, they're doing fireworks. My in-laws are now just like, wow.
कराची में कोई बहुत नहीं है डॉक्टर के साथ
It's been about 5 days.
डॉक्टर ही बनना है आपने या अकाउंटेंट या बनना या फौज में जाना ये मुरतब आते हैं अस्कारी में डाल अगर आप चाहते हो चले जाइए माशाल्लाह
I will choose this very note that you know, for 4 weeks are going to be very little. But we'll pick the same. How many
इंशाल्लाह
Yes, Surah's different.
How are you?
इंशाल्लाह
My heart is there.
Reasons behind the revelation. Now, if there's a story, people connect.
I see photos on my phone. My phone like shows me like highlights.
You know, I just try to
ये भी अच्छा था
down to
थोड़ा सा मैं हूँ लेकिन एक चुनना होगा
And your Martydom life
चलें चलते खुशी आपके अल्लाह ने दिया माशाल्लाह
difficult though, eh?
How are you? You okay? Alhamdulillah.